Hello BookTube, it's Paul here, and today I thought I would go out on a bit of a limb and create my own BookTube tag video. So I've decided to call this the Hope and Inspiration tag, and it has 6 questions which I'm going to run through just now. So the first question is, have you ever read a book that has inspired you to go out and do something that you would not otherwise have done? Now, with this one, I have chosen Fear by Sir Ranulph Fiennes as the book that has inspired me. With this book, it was actually a talk that I heard after reading the book given by Sir Ranulph Fiennes. It was a talk that I watched online, and he spoke about what he wrote about in the book, which was his experiences of fear and how he overcame it through his time in the Special Forces and the SAS and some of the expeditions that he's done. Which was really inspiring. But what he also said, what he also spoke about was, you know, you don't have to be someone at his level to go out and do things and to go out and overcome your fears, you know. And he spoke about how, you know, if you're someone who is, for example, scared to go outside, if your adventure is going out of your house and down to the end of your street, then that's fine. You know, you make your plan and you find courage and you do it. So this is a great, very inspiring book. But for me personally, what it made me do was be a bit more adventurous with outdoors activities and hill walking, and it inspired me to go out. There was a particular hill that I wasn't sure if it was within my capabilities. It's a hill called Morven. It's up in the northwest of Scotland, and but to cut a long story short, I made my plan. I went out and I achieved getting to the top of that hill, which was one of the most difficult things that I've done in terms of physical activity. But I achieved it, and I'm not sure I would have done it if I hadn't read this book. So, and I actually have a picture here that I put onto a canvas of a photo that I took from the summit of the hill, and here it is. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it, but it's an absolutely beautiful view, and it was an amazing feeling to be up there. So yeah, that was an amazing thing for me to do. So the second question on the tag is, do you have a quote from anything you have read that you find especially comforting or inspiring that you would like to share? Well, for this one, it goes back to the days when I used to drive all night for work, and it happened to be New Year's Eve, and the weather was terrible, and I was in this little van that I had to drive, and the roads weren't very good. And on the radio, as I was driving along, they discussed this poem, this very famous poem that really struck me in a very powerful way. The imagery of it and everything just really spoke to me. Now, I'd just like to say before I go into this point that I am not a religious person at all, you know, and this poem does touch on religion quite a bit, but for some reason I still find it comforting, and I still find it inspiring, and I'll talk about that just a little bit more in a second. But I'm going to read out just a few lines of this poem for you. And it's The Gate of the Year, very famous poem, also known as God Knows, and it's written by Minnie Louise Haskins. Now, as you've probably gathered, I'm not very articulate and I'm certainly not a very good reader, but I'm going to do my best and I'm going to read out part of this poem. So this is The Gate of the Year. And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, "Give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown." And he replied, "Go out into the darkness. Put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way." So I went forth, finding the hand of God, trod gladly into the night, and he led me towards the hills and the breaking day in the lone east. Now, I find that poem, there's more to the poem, and I'll leave a link to a version of the full poem that you can access. But that really, on that night, that poem really spoke to me. Now, as I said, I'm not religious. If you are religious, it's going to talk to you in obvious ways. But I think the poem, two things struck me about it. One was this idea of there being a gate at the end of the year that is, and a man being at the gate of the year who is there to see you through and push you on and guide you into the new year. And as far as the God side of it goes, I think if you're not religious, you could potentially substitute the idea of God for this kind of instinctual sense that I think we all have. You know, we may come across difficult situations in life and different problems, and we may not be able in our conscious minds to come up with an idea or a good way forward, but what we can do is, you know, listen to our instincts, that instinctual sense of what direction to go in. And I've always been a big believer in trusting my instincts. But yes, that's The Gate of the Year by Minnie Louise Haskins. Now the next question is, are there any books you feel that have given you real life lessons that you would like to share? So for me, I'm going to talk about very briefly two books that I have mentioned before on this channel. One is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Very famous, wonderful little book. And the other one is The Art of Happiness Again by the Dalai Lama and Dr. Howard C. Cutler. And both these books have, I think, provided me with life lessons, and in fact these books are full of lessons on how to maybe live a more contented and happy life. So they're both excellent. But just to give one example of something that I've taken from this book in particular, The Art of Happiness, what is related to anxiety issues, which I suffer from in a big way. But it talks about honesty, you know, being honest in terms of who you are as a person and what you're about, you know, because I think if you try to put on a front or try and pretend to be something that you're not, then that puts an added layer of stress in your mind, you know, and you constantly have to live up to this image of yourself that you're trying to portray. Whereas if you're honest, completely honest with yourself about who you are, what your abilities are, etc., then you're in for a less anxious time because you're not trying to live up to these expectations all the time. So that for me was a valuable lesson that has stayed with me and that I try and put into practice on a daily basis. So for me, those are the books that have given me real life lessons. The fourth question in this tag is, what is your favourite feel-good read? What book makes you feel good when you read it, that just makes you feel warm, comfortable, you know, gives you that good feeling? For me, that's a lot of books written by Charles Dickens. And the one that I happen to have, I suppose this is the best example of what I'm talking about. Again, a book I've mentioned before is Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings by Charles Dickens. Wonderful book, and one that just gives me a lot of comfort and pleasure to read. So, and I think that's really all I need to say on that. Most people will be familiar with Dickens' work, and so obviously at this time of year, we're coming up to Christmas, that is it's a great thing to dig into. So, Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. For the fifth question, which character from a book, either fiction or non-fiction, do you feel you identify with and is very inspiring to you? Well, I thought about this question and hesitated because I've already mentioned the Antonia Fraser Mary Queen of Scots book several times, and I was a bit embarrassed to mention it again. But I wouldn't feel right about doing this tag and not giving you my number one top answer, and that has to be it. Now I actually have a different Mary Queen of Scots book to show you. This is just a little guide that I picked up in Edinburgh in the last couple of years. But what I like about this little book, I mean, it's jam-packed full of information about places you can go and visit relating to the Mary Queen of Scots story. But I really like the image in the front, taken from a famous painting. That's Mary at the time of her execution. Now, I think what I find inspiring about the character is that she was not a bulletproof superhero that got everything right. She was quite a vulnerable character in many ways, and yet still managed to find courage and to be brave, to be resourceful, and to find ways out of difficult situations. And I can certainly identify with, you know, at times feeling vulnerable like we all do, but I'm inspired by her resourcefulness, by her bravery and her courage. And also ultimately at the end, you know, when she was facing her execution, the dignity and grace and composure that she showed is something that I always feel that I would like to aspire to when I'm faced with difficult situations. You know, so that's my answer to that question. And the final question in the tag is, what, apart from reading, do you like to do to relieve stress? Now for me, I really have two main answers to that. One is humour. You know, to find the humour in situations, to be able to laugh at yourself is such a fantastic ability to have, you know, and it really can help neutralise stress to quite a large degree, I find. And the other thing for me is music. I'm a big music lover. I'm just back from Edinburgh. I was down there seeing 2 concerts this week, which were absolutely wonderful, gave me a real boost. I also play a bit of piano. I'm taking piano lessons at the moment, so that's a great escape from me, even though I'm not very good at the moment. I do enjoy sitting at the piano and trying to play something. It really is a great escape for me. So that's it. That's my hope and inspiration tag, and I hope that people will be inspired to do the tag themselves. I'm not going to single anyone out, but I would like to tag everyone that's subscribed to my channel. So if you've subscribed, then you're officially tagged to do this, if you want to. If you're subscribed to my channel and you don't have a channel of your own, then I would love it if you could pick out one of these questions and answer it in the comment section below. That would be fantastic. So yeah, so anyway, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed the tag that I made up there. You can let me know. As usual, feel free to get in touch wherever you are. I hope you're having a good day. I hope things are good with you, and thanks for watching. So yeah, bye for now. Take care.